Hey everyone, and welcome back to Money Mortgage Moving Out. I'm Sam and this is Pip.
Hi!
And today we're going to be talking about pensions.
Saving for a pension probably feels like the last thing you want to do when you'd rather be spending your money on a house deposit, a new car, or even a holiday.
But it is so worthwhile engaging how pensions work at such a young age so you have your youth on your side.
It's much easier to save more money while spending less thanks to time and compound interest.
So, what is a pension?
The aim is for you to have money to live on when you're old so that you can retire and you don't have to work. The government is keen for people to save up for their 80s and 90s while they're young and still earning money. You will start receiving benefits called state pension when the government deems you of retirement age, but that age is always creeping upwards.
State pensions are paid out of a compulsory tax that you pay throughout your working life, known as national insurance. If you don't pay enough national insurance, however, you will not get the national state pension. But remember, national insurance doesn't go into an account that's untouched until your retirement. It's added into government coffers each year, like every tax you pay. Your national insurance is currently paying for today's retirees. If the future government decides to abolish a state pension, unfortunately you will not be able to refund your money that you've paid up to then.
The government encourages you to save for your pension whilst you're still working through super generous tax breaks to accumulate enough money in a private pension. So really, a private pension is a tax break or something called a tax wrapper, which is something that you wrap around a variety of different products to protect it from tax. The product is most commonly an investment fund, where your pension will grow by investing in the stock market. You can hold other things in a pension like cash or commercial property.
There are so many different pension products and funds that it can be a headache to understand. But that should not put you off of taking advantage of the basic tax break. The downside is though, you have to lock your money away in an account until you are 55. That's why a pension is a more lucrative way to save than just a normal savings account. You don't pay as much tax on it than if you would to put it away and not touch it in a normal savings account until your 70s.
State pensions. As it stands, if you were to retire today and receive the full state pension, true to tax year 2018 to 2019, you would get £164.35 a week, which is £8,546.20 a year, provided you have accrued at least 35 years of national insurance contributions. You need to have 10 years of national insurance contributions to get any kind of state pension at all. You pay these contributions automatically if you earn more than £162 a week, true of 2018 to 2019. If there are periods of your life where you don't earn, for example, maternity leave or paternity leave, bringing up children, caring for someone else, or if you are too unwell to work, you may struggle to make up that 35 years of contributions. You can resolve this by claiming national insurance credits. You can request your national insurance records at any time to see if you're on track to reach that 35-year requirement. At the moment, state pensions rise year on year at 2.5% the rate of inflation, or the average earning growth, whichever is greater. The age at which you receive your state pension is rising to try and reduce a massive bill.
Workplace pensions.
The recent introduction of what is called auto-enrolment is just another way that the government is trying to nudge us into accruing enough for our retirement.
Which means every employer must help their employees over the age of 22 and earning at least £10,000 into a private pension by placing them into a workplace pension scheme.
The law sets minimum payments each year. That is the amount that is paid annually into the pension scheme.
It's a giant pot of money that you and your colleagues can all dip into when you reach 55.
This is rising at the moment. It is 5% of anything you earn over £5,876 and up to £45,000.
Note that not all 5% is not going to come out of your earnings. That contribution is made up of 3 chunks of money.
Money that you pay out of your pre-tax salary.
Money that you're paid on top of your salary by your employer.
Money from the government in the form of tax relief.
You may find that your employer is more generous and contributes a bigger amount of money, but they are not legally allowed to contribute less.
You are automatically opted in to your work's pension scheme when you join a new company. You can opt out, but avoid doing this.
Opting out of a workplace pension is basically like turning down a pay rise for not doing any more work.
The money your employer gives you to top up your contribution is basically free because it comes from the government.
It's much easier to save money deducted from your pay than it is to save money in a current account. How pension tax relief works. You do not have to pay tax on any money you put into a pension up to a point. The point is known as pension allowance. So if you were to put £100 into a pension, you'd actually only be paying £80 if you are a basic tax rate payer. Usually you would pay 20 of that £100 to the government in income tax. Instead, you get the £20 sent back to you and added into a pension pot. You benefit more if you are a higher rate taxpayer, as that £100 of pension savings will be costing you £60. This tax relief system is very likely to change, as it is very generous to the highest earners.
Final salary versus defined benefit schemes. With these schemes, when you pay into them, rather than getting a pot of money at your retirement that you can use to draw an income, you get a guaranteed income ever after. Calculated at either a proportion of what your last salary was at the time at which you retired, or an average of your salary over your career and for how long you've been paying in. They have proved cripplingly expensive for employers as people are living longer, so they have all shut down now or have stopped taking new members. Most have been replaced by defined contribution schemes or money purchase schemes. You pay a contribution from your salary, topped up by your employer and by the government through tax relief. Eventually, when you retire, you will have a pot of savings. How big the pot is depends on how much you have put in throughout your working life and how much it has grown through investment return. You can't touch this pot until you're 55, and at that age you can do what you like with it. Although taking it all out is not advised, as you will be taxed heavily. Take out a little bit at a time, or a quarter of the pot which you will not be taxed on, leaving the rest invested, and it will hopefully grow. You can take out a lump sum and use it to buy annuity, which gives you a guaranteed income for the rest of your life. As it is a guaranteed income, it is often low, but it's a good idea to get financial advice to decide what to do.
Part of the problem with engaging with your pension is actually finding out where it is, or what it is doing whilst you're saving up, because it's coming out of your salary. Most companies offering a defined contribution pension scheme via auto-enrollment will choose a pension provider. This is a massive company, also known as an insurer, to run the pension. Your provider will choose fund managers or investment companies to run specific funds into which your pension contribution is invested. These fund managers will find specific things to split your contribution between: cash bonds and shares of companies you may well have heard of. You are invested in the stock market through your workplace pension, even if you don't understand it. How well the companies do have an impact on what is left in your pot when it comes to retiring. Fund managers try to make as much as possible with your investments without losing it all. It is a balancing game.
When you join a workplace pension, you will probably be put in a default fund. When a provider chooses one fund managed by one company, these funds tend to be quite cautious. And greater risk means greater reward when it comes to investing. That means staying in a default fund is not going to get you as big a pot as it would if you went into an adventurous one. And this still applies in your 20s and 30s, even though you have more time to ride out the ups and downs of the market. Most workplaces offer you a large variety of funds to choose from, and working out which one is going to make you the most decent return will make a big difference to the amount you have when you retire and also the amount you give up now.
If you are your own boss, it means you can't take advantage of an employer's contribution, which means saving into a pension is less of a no-brainer. It is still worth trying to set one up for yourself. However, to take advantage of the tax breaks and force yourself into long-term saving, with no employee contributions, you are even less likely to be able to afford to retire. There are 3 types of pensions that you can set up yourself: a personal pension, a stakeholder pension, or a self-invested personal pension. The main difference between a personal and a stakeholder pension is the charges to open one and the range of funds on offer. Stakeholders can be more restricted, though you do get more of a choice, depending on what company you choose to open a pension with. A self-invested personal pension is more like a DIY pension. You can invest in almost anything you like: funds, individual shares, or commercial property. But it does involve more risks and responsibilities. These are best suited for people keen to learn about investing and put some hours into research.
If you were paying into a workplace pension before you went self-employed, you can still use this pension, but you just won't get the employee contribution. This could be a really smart option, as many large companies can negotiate lower pension scheme charges than an individual can, so it will work out cheaper than setting up your own pot. An alternative to a pension is a lifetime ISA, which we have spoken about in a previous video. However, if you are a higher rate taxpayer, the return on a lifetime ISA is not as high as you would get from tax relief in a normal pension. However, if you are a higher rate taxpayer, the lifetime ISA is not as generous as the tax relief on a pension.
Deciding how much you need for a pension and how much you want to retire with is totally up to you, and it's based on your circumstances and what you want to do when you retire.
To plan exactly how much you want for the future, you need to work out roughly how much you want and also can afford that future to look like, and at what age you want it to start.
It can be tricky to work this out in today's money, as your retirement could be decades away, and there is investment return and inflation to consider.
But there are a few handy rules of thumb to help.
You probably want an income in retirement roughly up to a half or 2/3 of what you're earning now, to maintain the same quality of life.
Most people say that you want to earn 20 years of retirement income to get to that position.
You need to save way more than you imagine.
Auto-enrollment workplace pensions can lull you into a false sense of security.
The contributions that are stated by law are way below the amount that experts say you need.
Experts suggest that you should put away between 12.5 and 15% of your salary each month.
Or take the age that you started saving for your pension and half it, and put that percentage of your pre-tax salary away before you retire.
You can ask your pension provider for a statement so that you can see what is already in your pension pot and an estimate of what that will turn into when you start taking it out at retirement.
You can head over to the Money Advice Service website and use their calculator to see how much you should be saving.
The average person has worked for 5.8 employers by the time they are 55, which means you will have lots of little pension pots scattered across the UK.
But how do you keep track of them, and what do you do with them all?
By using the government's pension tracking service, which we will link below.
If you have lots of little pots, it might make sense to consolidate them all into one bundle, maybe with an existing employer or a private pension.
This makes it easier to keep in control of how and where your money is invested, what fees you are paying, and how much more you need to save.
You will need to check you will not be charged big exit penalties before you do this.
We hope that you've enjoyed this episode.
As your pension is an investment, please make sure to go and visit our investment video. It's very helpful.
Please also don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.
And also don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Money Mortgage Moving Out. But for now, we'll see you next time.
Much love!